What's up, y'all? It's your boy Mashu. Coming at you today is another round of the Hero Dive. In this video, we'll take a closer look into our most recently released heroes, Roana and Sinful Angelica. Two heroes in one video? I know it's a lot to cover, but both of these Soul Weavers have interesting interactions between their abilities. First off, let's take a look at Roana. You should focus on increasing that max HP as all her abilities get better the higher it is. After stats, let's take a look at equipment. Consider grabbing a tanky counter set to maximize the juicy barrier on her first skill, Soul of Purification. One person said, for every counter there is an equal and opposite barrier for your ally with lowest health. That's how it went, right? But anyways, speed and health sets are another viable option. However, since her skill 2 Vigilant Eye isn't gated by a turn count, taking turns as much as possible won't be as mandatory as it is for some other heroes. Let's now turn to artifacts. Roana has a number of them to choose from. As a hero without any debuff removal, Stella Harp is just one of these great choices. You'll have more control in forcing its activation, as Roana is used mostly to counter teams that counter. That's a lot of countering. Celestine is another great choice for those who plan to run her on a counter set. This artifact will exponentially increase your team's durability by offering both a heal and a barrier for every counter attack. Roana's main utility comes in the form of simply existing and activating Vigilant Eye. With this passive, popular PvP heroes such as Seaside Bellona, Charles, Champion Zerato, Martial Artist Ken, and the soon-to-be Sinful Angelica, or any other counterattack focused hero, begin to do more harm to their team with each counter. For this reason, you'd want Roana to be built durable to ensure that she continues to exist throughout the fight. Keep in mind, when adjusting her speed, she's not your traditional reviver. Her third skill, Noble Rekos, doesn't revive defeated allies and it only gives living ones a 2-turn resurrect buff. For this reason, if you're running her with a glass cannon team, it may be important to have her faster than normal so she can apply the buff. Though it's not advised to run her with a fragile team since she grows stronger in drawn out skirmishes, who am I to stop you? That's it for Roana. Now let's move on to Sinful Angelica. She's quite different as she offers little to potentially no sustain for a typical Soul Weaver. And by no means is she someone you take into a long stalling fight. Rather, she'd much prefer to wrap things up relatively fast. Speaking of fast, it's recommended to build Sinful Angelica with a speed set to prepare for the damage dealers who come next. Some durability is also recommended as she's capable of cleaning up those who survived the initial cleave. For artifacts, Midnight Bloom is a pseudo crit buff in addition to her attack and speed buff, which help her maximize her full potential in setting up for the approaching oncoming damage. Shamaja's Staff is another decent artifact as it does assist in alleviating some of her high effect resist requirements. However, the bonus healing effect may feel wasted as her heals are gated behind a kill. Sinful Angelica's main utility comes from existing in battle due to her Wait, didn't we already say this for Roana? Okay, no, we're good. Sinful Angelica's main utility comes from existing in battle due to her passive Soul Harvest. With this passive, popular PvP heroes such as I swear we're just reusing the same script. With this passive, popular PvP heroes such as Arbiter Vildred, Rule of Light, Maid Chloe, and even Roana will struggle to find a window to revive their defeated allies. For this reason, you'd want Sinful Angelica to be built tanky and have high effect resistance. By doing this, she's able to exist throughout the fight and have her immortality buff, which is what activates her other abilities. Some things to take note of is that you want to make her fast to start your team off with an offensive buff. While in a bruiser team, she's prone to losing her usefulness early into the fight due to dispels. We anticipate that most will best use her as a secondary buffer in cleave teams, to power up the cleaver and take out teams focused on surviving with revives. Now, let's take a look at how we feel these heroes will fit in the current meta. First up, Roana. She's a counterpick oriented hero, as such we're not going to be looking at allies she works well with, but more so heroes she counters. As specified in her passive, Vigilant Eye, extra attacks do trigger the effects. For this reason, Roana is a hard counter to Seaside Bellona. As many players know, SSB is quite infamous for her S2 being considered an extra attack and not a counter attack, which helped her bypass some hero skills. But not this time, SSB. Vigilant Eye will cause her skill 2 to provide Roanna's allies an additional 20% combat readiness, as well as healing based on Roanna's max health multiplied by the number of allies hit. That's a ton of healing. Charles is quite known for his rampant counterattacks due to Counterset and the artifact Elbrus Ritual Sword. While Roanna doesn't counter Charles as hard as she does Seaside Bellona, Vigilant Eye does punish Charles twice due to his high chance of activating Smash after his initial slash. Here are some heroes which Roanna can be counterpicked against. Note that any heroes built on counter will proc her Vigilant Eye, but the benefits are most notable against attacks that strike multiple targets. Sinful Angelica is also a counterpick oriented hero. She doesn't have allies you'd pair with her outside of shooting Star Arcades as a joke, but depending on your opponents, you may want to bring her into a fight thanks to her passive Soul Harvest and the Extinct mechanic. As long as Sinful Angelica has Immortality up, she provides a window in which Arbiter Vildred's revive will not work, which takes out the risk of being reverse cleaved after he dies. For good. Up until now, countering Maid Chloe was focused on dispelling her revive buff. However, with Soul Harvest, players can now technically extinct any hero. With Roanna having access to revive buff, she also falls under becoming hard countered by Sinful Angelica. Here are some heroes which you can use her against. That just about sums it up for our hero dive for both our newest Soul Weavers, Roanna and Sinful Angelica. Let us know if you have different ways of building them or if this guide helped. And as always, see you in the next video. Catch you later.